Hello everyone, I am Silver. It is Wednesday, May 2nd. I just want to say a quick hello to all new viewers and a great welcome back to all returning viewers. If you tuned in last time and decided to come back, I really do appreciate it. So anyway, how has everyone been this week? I've actually been great. Been a bit busy over the past couple days, especially today. Had a dentist appointment. Everything went fine. The rest of some surgeries coming up. Blah, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so I do have some new segments and some stuff to talk to you about. So I should probably get started, right? So grab your drink of choice, your knitting and crafting, and away we go. Today I'm actually going to be partaking in a nice cup of raspberry seltzer. Actually, I've tried to stay away from as much coffee as I can. We'll see. Mostly because when I have coffee, lots of sugar, which I really need to skip away from. But anyway, let me just take a quick drink of my seltzer. Okay, so if we hear a little bit of fizzing in front of the microphone, I am so sorry. Anyway, let us move right into faux. Yes, guys, I have a faux, and I do mean one. I did manage to finish one of this year's washcloth challenge that I'm partaking in. Just as a gentle reminder, I have been using Grandma's Favorite Dishcloth by Ruth Slate. I am using Lily Sugar and Cream. This week was the Solid Series. Colorway is called Black Currant. I have been using a size US 6, which is a 4.0 millimeter marbles needles. I believe they are 32-inch cables. I keep forgetting to check, guys, but I think that's what they are. I'll check and put it down below if it's different. But guys, what I'm super excited about, I have two hose! I have two hose, guys. I have two hose. Oh my gosh, you guys. I finished 2 socks this week. Not enough for an FO, but here we go. The first sock that I finished was what I was calling Pattern All the Things. The pattern that I'm using is actually a CC Almond pattern. She put the name of a retreat into Morse code and translated that into knits and pearls on a sock, which I think is completely genius, by the way, CC. I have been using Regia, Arnie, and Carlos in the colorway Tin. I have been using a size US 1.5, which is a 2.5 millimeter to 16-inch Addy sock needles. Wow. And the second sock that I managed to finish this week is what I'm calling Math Being a Beep. Not while you're sparkle rich. Wow, can't even get my own title out today. Can you tell it's been a busy day so far? Anyway, I am using the Vanilla Cappuccino Socks by CC Almond. I am using Opal's Funny Base in the Hater, spelled Heiter base. For this one, I have been using a size US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter. I am using 2 16-inch circulars. Oh, I love these needles, guys. So let's move right into works in progress. I have been kind of bad in my cast-ons this week, you guys. I cast on, let me count them up. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them. Wait, I've started more than I thought I did. Anyway, let's start off with the first one. What I am simply calling Birthday Month DVD Socks. And I have been using the pattern the OMG Heel by Megan Williams of the Stockinette Zombies. Love this pattern. I've been wanting to try it out again for a while. I am using the Desert Vista Dye Works Viso base. The colorway is called Happy Birthday Cupcake. I am using a size 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars. as well as 2 16-inch circulars for the toes, heels, and cuffs. Now this one is actually being housed in my stained glass Beauty and the Beast bag by Molly Klein Designs. I love this bag and it's perfect because that's my favorite movie, y'all, if you couldn't tell. The next thing that I did start was what I called Embers Up. It's I'm doing a vanilla sock with an Eye of Partridge heel, just going simple this month. This is for another KL I'm participating in. The yarn is actually from Redbird's Yarn Studio, her simple sock base in the Ember colorway. Oh my goodness, guys, I love these colors together. I am also using a US 1, which is 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars and 2 16-inch circulars for the toes, heels, and cuffs on this one as well. And I am actually hosting this one in another stained glass bag that I have. It's actually a Zelda themed, so it's a Zelda top by Slip Stitch Studios. Love this bag, guys, and it's perfect for the project. So the third thing that I did start this week was what I am calling simply Scraptastic DVD. This is a crocheted blanket again, using the Granny Stripes pattern by Lucy of Attic 24. I want this to be a miscellaneous DVD scrap blanket. So super happy and scrappy. I have a solid that I am planning on putting between the different years of the Yarn Club colorways that I'm participating in, as well as between the ones that I started before and during the knit-alongs themselves. The solid I'm using is the Loopy U Solid Series in the Bisque colorway, and so far I have started with the Bisque and added in a Desert Vista Dye Works colorway Winnie the Pooh. So I will actually have a full list of all the colors that will be in the blanket eventually right there on my project page, and I will actually probably only be mentioning the colorways as I add them in, just so you know, so you're not surprised. There's going to be quite a few. I am using a size G hook. Sorry, I didn't write down the millimeter. Bad podcaster preparation, right? However, this is actually being housed in my coffee bag, my Molly Klein Designs. Whee! I love it. I love it. And so the final thing that I did just cast on this week was what I am calling Whispering Myra. So if you're wondering what the title of the episode means, I was commenting to somebody on Instagram about how with lace you want to lock your stitches in when you're doing lace patterning, especially the yarn overs, etc. So yeah, I kind of keep thinking to myself every time I do a purl back row, gotta lock those stitches in, gotta lock them in good, because I'm crazy like that. But anyway, you were wondering what the name of the pattern is. It's actually Myra by Renee Muller. Renee is spelled RANEEMUELLER. It is a tank top, and I am hoping to get this done by the time I go to SSK. We'll see. I'm actually knitting this out of Knit Picks Cotton DK in their Whisper colorway. Oh, super gorgeous, you guys. Like, look at the picture. I've done quite a bit already. So I did use a size US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter needle for the very bottom border, and the majority of the top will be in a US 6, which is a 4.0 millimeter, and they both are Marbles 32-inch circulars. So this is actually being housed in my blue TARDIS bag by Slip Stitch Studios. Oh my goodness, guys, I love it. It's just small enough that it can fit in there with the yarn that I need. Each skein is 130 yards the most, so I'm going to be using a few of them. It works out for me. All right, so something that actually got a lot of love this week, and in fact I finished the body of it, was what I called pumpkin season all the time. Now this is the cardigan, the Harvest cardigan by Tin Can Knits. I absolutely love the way that it came out. I had maybe an inch before the ribbing and then like 4 inches of ribbing, so it was a relatively quick finish for me this week. I'm going to be putting this off for a while. I will explain that a little bit more later. I am using Barocco Vintage DK in the pumpkin colorway. I am using a size US 8, which is a 5.0 millimeter needle for the bulk of it. And this week I also introduced the US 6, which is a 4.0 millimeter marbles 32-inch circulars, basically just for the bottom 4-inch ribbing section before the bind off. And the other sweater is actually getting a little bit of love right now as we speak. Is what I'm calling We've Got Mars on the Horizon. This is the Worsted Boxy by Joji Locatelli. The yarn that I'm using on this one is Miss Babs Yowza in the Seductress colorway. Wow, say that 10 times fast. I am using a size US 8, which is a 5.0 millimeter marbles 32-inch circular needles. Yes, I love those needles, if you can't figure that out. This one's actually being housed in another blue TARDIS bag of mine. This one is actually by the Knitted Broomstick. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ooh, gotta take a quick breather before the next section, because I can feel myself getting parched. All right, so what you reading and listening to, Silver? Quite a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So I did, actually I've been listening to a lot on the radio, which I know it's kind of bringing it old school, right? You had to listen to the radio. But no, it's fine. I listen to a lot of 99.1 PLR out of New Haven, Connecticut, mostly because they play a lot of classic rock, which is kind of my jam sometimes, especially on Saturday and Sunday mornings before long days of work. I have also been listening to a couple CDs, actually both in my car and in MTI's car. I am listening to the Hamilton soundtrack, but of course, and Metallica's Ride the Lightning, because some days you just need to rock out with the windows rolled down. AKA today, before I started recording, I actually drove home from the dentist actually blaring I don't know, one of the songs. It was pretty cool. I can't remember, to be honest. My brain is completely shot. But anyway, I have been listening to a few audio podcasts this week. As usual, I love to listen to the Knitmore Girls. They are completely awesome. I also listen to Is This Adulting and Wine and Crime, because both of those I am a Patreon supporter of. That's how much I love their podcast. They are both comedy podcasts. Wine and Crime does deal with the trying to be funny and not trying to be funny, because they are, but they try to make gruesome cases better to deal with. And they do it while being drunk, so that kind of is my jam. And now, if you have never listened to them, might I suggest that be your new podcast of choice. The other podcast that I mentioned, Is This Adulting, does deal with the whole mental health portion of things, as well as trying to break the stigma, is how they put it. They like to break the stigma around it and get more awareness for it, which I appreciate the fact that Steve and Chris put themselves out there like that. Hence why I like donating to them. Anyway, the other podcast that I did catch up on this week was a podcast called Pleasing Terrors. He tells a story of essentially a ghost story of a real life incident. So he goes and he does like ghost tours and things like that, and he tells that story, which is so cool the way he does it. Might I suggest you try that one as well if you haven't already, especially if you are shopping for a new podcast. All right, what I have been reading. I have been reading slightly less than what I have been listening and watching, but that's another story altogether. I did manage to finish 4 books this week, however. I did finish the book I was reading last time, which is called Druid Reapers by Murata Eros. I honestly don't remember much of it. It was such a short book. The second book that I read was called Moon Chosen by Mac Flynn. I like that one. That one was pretty good. Very quick read. The next book was called The Boss's Son, which I read in like 2-3 hours tops. That one is by Sierra Rose, and it's actually pretty good. There's also another one called Charmed by the Bartender. That one's by Piper Rain. Can you guys tell I went into the romance free section on Amazon this week? I have a few more coming up anyway in that vein. What I am currently I'm currently listening to Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I've got, I'd say, a couple more hours read this week, mostly because I do listen to it a lot in the mornings before I completely wake up for work. Like, I'll wake up an hour early just to kind of listen to it because I like the book, and it's motivating that way. Alrighty, so what you watching, Silver? Essentially this week I spent a lot of time on YouTube. Well, I found a few random dumb videos, but I also really got stuck for some reason on random flash mob videos for some strange reason. I also found the Royal Variety Show from 2012. Don't know what made me want to watch it. I didn't continue watching it all the way through yesterday, but there it is. I've also been watching a lot of podcasts directly on YouTube. I did catch up with the Geeky Girls Knit podcast as well as the Knit Girls, and the Knitters League actually had an episode come up, which was pretty awesome. I love those ladies. I have actually been binge watching, if you will, on Dramatic Knit also. Mostly, it's pretty much what I've been spending a lot of my time watching this past week, which is awesome. I just started watching episode 249 before I started to record my voice. I don't know if you can hear it, but the guys outside decided they wanted to start doing the lawn. I don't know if it can pick up on the microphone. And you'll probably also hear in the background our air went on for the first time, and it literally just kicked in. So I wanted to make the mention of that. Anyway, back to what I'm watching. I actually found a new podcast. Actually, it's new to me. It's called Unseen Threads. It's actually a podcast by one of my wonderful viewers who has a podcast. It's not it's kind of new. Anyway, how did I not know about this? I actually started to watch Most Crochet and her episodes about 3 days ago. I actually love how she's using her voice and putting up pictures, kind of like I do. So if you are basically a fan of my show, I do recommend you give her a listen. I'll link that directly in the show notes so that way you can find her. All right, let's move on to my favorite things. I had one package come in this week, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This one came directly from Java Pearl headquarters, as they're calling it. I bought myself a copy of the Tickle Pink book, which also includes the download code there for Ravelry. Now, in the package itself, they did include, especially for most pre-orders, you could have added on the stitch marker, the progress marker from Ann Tudor Designs. This one is a wonderful little pink feather, you guys. Like, look at how gorgeous this is. I'll put it up now. And also, in the package was a wonderful Tickle Pink button with the book's logo on it. It's absolutely gorgeous, you guys. But what's so great about that, and why I mention it, so as I mentioned last week before I got the books in, I am going to be giving away this wonderful copy of the book as well as the 2 little goodies to go with it. So all you need to do to win this wonderful prize is to go ahead on Ravelry. There's a thread open for the Tickle Pink book giveaway. All you need to answer is what you would knit out of this book first, and what is your favorite moment from the Geeky Curls Knit podcast. Now, just be aware, if you do decide to join in the entry, you do need to be a member of my group, which is Silver's Dreamland podcast. I'll link everything down below in the comments section and everything too. So there's that. The more you know. So in case you need a little reminder, this is where I'm going to be making a couple of announcements, mostly because of two different KALs that I'm going to be participating in, and I hope that you will as well. The first one is my Knit20 KAL. So just to remind everyone, since it's been a while since I went over the details, I actually decided, I have too many whips. I'm going to go ahead and try to knit them all this year and get them out of the queue. Y'all know how that goes. But anyway. So anyway, if you would like to join, so you know, these are the details. So the rules are as follows. You must be a member of my Ravelry group. Your projects actually must be at least 10 grams of yarn. In my case, I would say just 10 yards of yarn. I don't really care at this point, as long as it's getting out of your whips pile there. Individual socks can count until you finish the pair. Only one pair will count once, I'm sorry. But what you can always do is just post it to count for prizes, one sock at a time if you'd like. This is for basically any project at all that you finish in 2018 will count. Especially, even if it's not a Ravelry craft, like say for example, you were to finish a scrapbook, do a latch hooking progress, quilting, sewing, needlepoint, and basically holiday baking and things like that will count. However, but you must post a before and after photo so that way I can see, mostly because I'm nosy like that, and also so that way we can see your progress on it as well. So poly dipping is allowed and even highly encouraged. Now, you want to know what's in it for me, right? Well, I have a fair amount of prizes coming up, guys. So I do have 12 total individual $10 or under patterns of your choice, the winner's choice, there on Ravelry. I also do have an individual pattern by Java Pearl Designs that I will draw per quarter as well, so that's a total of 4. I also do have a set of cupcake stitch markers by Ann Tudor, as well as a set of sheep stitch markers by Ann Tudor as well. Now, you will also be qualified to win a wonderful Outlander bag by the Knitted Broomstick, as well as an awesome teapot bag, also by the Knitted Broomstick. Now, there are a few other things, both by Molly Klein Designs. The first one is an awesome bag. Oh, love this bag. It's super cute. As well as these lovely stitch markers. Now, I did recently announce a grand prize, see episode 40 for all of the details, and I'll actually be putting it down below as well in the comment section, as well as the show notes, because and so there will be other prizes to be determined. So just so you know, the prizes will actually be drawn once a quarter, so every 3 months. So just make sure you get your FOs in as soon as possible. And as usual, if you would like to donate any prizes for the KAL, please PM me directly, especially if you'd like to donate for this KAL. Or if for any other KALs as well. So there were a few people who finished things this month. I'm going to say a quick congratulations to Mercury Zelda, as well as Rue CNC, who was really busy this month. Congratulations. Good on you, girl. And Rose Crochet. And a recent join, Elle McCall. So congratulations, everyone. Can't wait to see what you make next. Alright, so the next KAL that I am participating is not one that I am actually hosting, but I tend to participate in every year. This is going to be Stash Dash. If you don't know what Stash Dash is, it's actually a way of knitting through all of your whips and counting it toward imaginary points on the Knit Girls forums as well. The dates are actually from May 25th up until August 27th, so you do have some time. I do encourage to poly dip whatever you would go ahead and knit up for my KAL for Stash Dash as well, because yes, it's awesome. Prizes abound. Right now, as part of what Lala does, who is one of the hostess of this KAL, she puts out a thread and says, "Hey, here, debate, possible rule changes." There's actually quite a debate going on right now. I'm going to come out and say I am pro finishing as part of this, and for you allowed to get yardage counts for it. I say not for the whole yardage count, especially on sweaters and things like that, especially if you're just adding buttons. However, if you do put in a zipper install, it'll count for your entire yard status. Wow, your whole yardage count. Wow. So yeah, by all means, I agree with Jasmine of the Knit More Girls, that you can add the full yardage, etc. I will keep you updated on what Lala decides, because I'm kind of following that thread with eager eyes. Now, I have actually decided this year that I am just going to try to knit through what I can knit through during that time frame and just call it good, mostly because, yeah, I don't want to be stressed and that kind of thing as well. So whatever I have will be my final yardage. I kind of have a plan, but yeah, I think it's just whatever I finish in that time frame will be entered, and I'll add up the yardage later. There are people that start a backlog and hold off on finishing their whips until then. That's kind of where I'm at right now, because I mostly hate it and hate doing sleeves anyway. But yeah, I'm just rambling, guys. So you'll want to know what I've been stacking up whips and holding on to, right? I have 4 sweaters that I have not quite finished yet, and mostly because I need to put sleeves on it. And yeah, I delay them anyway, but I'm kind of like, nah, just kind of hold off for the yardage, because as you do. Now, as I mentioned before, the pumpkin season all the time cardigan, I only need to put sleeves on, and that's pretty much why I wanted to hold off on finishing the sleeves. I'm also going to try to get to the We've Got Mars on the Horizon cardigan. I'm actually sweater I'm currently working on, up to everything minus the sleeves. What is currently ready to be held off is the sweater I made for MDI, the flax cardigan, what I called It's Easy Being Green. That also just needs sleeves, and I've been waiting for Stash Dash to finish it up, as well as the love sweater that I had, the I'm Loving It sweater, that that pink one, the one that I was freaking out about not having enough yardage for. Yeah, about that. I'm fine, I think. We'll see. So, we've come to the end of the road. I am pretty social. You can actually find me on our Ravelry board, which is Silver's Dreamland Podcast. I am Silver Luna 2112 there. On Facebook, Silver's Dreamland can be found at www.facebook.com/Silver's Dreamland. On Instagram, I am both Silver's Treats and Silver's Dreamland. I tend to use Silver's Treats a lot more. On Twitter, I am at Silver's Knitting. I do tend to read through all messages as soon as I possibly can. If you don't hear from me within 24 hours, please feel free to email me directly at silverstreamland@gmail.com. As always, anything that I talk about can be found in the show notes directly at silverstreamlandpodcast.com. Now, before I sign off, I do want to let you know the schedule for the podcast might change just a little bit, depending on how things go for the Mother's Day rush, which is coming up at work for me. And also, I'm planning on hopefully doing the teeth surgeries and things like that soonish. That might affect if I feel like recording, or if I can even. But I will definitely let you know if it turns out I won't be recording on schedules. I'll make sure to put it up on social media, stuff like that. All right. So I have actually rambled for long enough. I know your time is valuable. I tried to keep this as short as I can because I had much to impart on you in a short amount of time. Please feel free to join in any discussion on the Ravelry board, or you can even start your own. I do encourage that, trust me. I don't bite, I promise. I like being social. So please stay tuned for episode 46 on the 9th. Until next time, happy crafting!